Back here on RossLong.Info and of course KJagRadio.com, your source for the best in entertainment news and interviews in Central and South Central Kansas. We're here in the heart of downtown Salina at the historic Stiefel Theater for the Performing Arts. And we've got quite the show tonight. You might be able to hear a little bit of them in the background. So without any further ado, let's go to them right now. And we're talking with Get the Lead Out. How y'all doing, guys?
Great, man. How are you?
Okay, so give me a little intro. You don't look like Robert Plant.
No, I don't.
No, and you're not supposed to, I understand.
Absolutely not. We're all about bringing those versions from the albums to you. So it's not about the dressing up in costume or impersonations. It's all about the music. And this is why we've got 6 guys in our group. With Diana DeSantis, it's 7 people. She does the special guest vocal in the Battle of Evermore. So as opposed to Led Zeppelin Live, where they use John Paul Jones, the bassist, and oh, dance in the dark of night. Which, you know, God bless Zeppelin, but I prefer the Sandy Denny role played by a female.
Absolutely.
I see. So you are the lead singer then?
I am.
Whenever I found out about you about 6 weeks ago, when I learned that you were coming, whenever I need my Led Zeppelin fix, which is a couple times a week, I instead go to YouTube versions of you guys.
Awesome.
Because what you guys seem to be giving me is like the album music, much more than the 4-piece Led Zeppelin could do in their own.
Well, I always found that silly, the fact that you imagine, all right, Led Zeppelin in the 1970s, when they performed live, they did long, extended improvisational jams with their songs. So a song like Dazed and Confused, which on record might be 8 minutes, live they play for like 27 minutes with all kinds of things in there. You don't even recognize the song half the time. And that was them, and they were okay with doing that because the audiences, well, they were high, weren't they? Anyway, that all worked out. But for us, we figured here we are all these years later, the versions that everybody, I imagine, who's a Zeppelin fan, or at least most of them, to cast the widest net, those people know those versions that we've been hearing on radio since 1969. And so to play any other version, I can't understand why they would do it. And to do that, you need more than one guitar player. You need Andrew playing guitar, Paul playing guitar, and Jimmy all simultaneously to create the layered effects that Jimmy did.
Now, I didn't know if you all knew this, but this week denotes the 40th anniversary of Stairway to Heaven. I think it's still has the most airplay of any song in the world.
By minutes. Right, by
Yes, what were you going to say? You are one of our guitar players.
I play guitar. Yeah, I play keyboards primarily, and then I do third guitar and 12-string and harmonica
and vocals and harmonica and band show,
the extra stuff that's needed. Well, what I was just saying, because I thought about it, is that there's a lot of Zeppelin bands or people doing Zeppelin shows out there, and I think one of the things that makes us a little bit different is that some of those bands are recreating the concert experience, and a lot of the people who go see those shows want to relive a concert experience they had or wished they had in the 70s. But what I think we're trying to do is present the music from the recordings in a concert environment. So it's not about reliving something that already happened, it's about celebrating something that's still around and still relevant. So we have, people who are coming that are 9 years old and 10 years old and 18 years old and 20 years old and 40 years old and 50 years and 60, 70, 80 and so on and so forth. We've had people we've met where it's 3 generations, or it's a grandfather, a father, and a grand.
So now the demographics, I was thinking they would kind of be like 45 to 65-year-old baby boomers.
8 to 80, man, that's a weird say.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're getting them and they're jamming to it just like anybody.
The kids love it. It's like they'll come to the concert, and Paul will say they were just like us when we were kids growing up, with their concert T-shirt. Some of them might have long hair, or take their girlfriend on a date. And I mean, it almost seems like a rite of passage now for kids to come to the Get the Let Out show in high school, which is to us super cool, because it's like we were when we were kids. So,
yeah, man.
As I was growing up in the 70s when Zeppelin was going on, this is basically for our guitarists here. It's more kind of an axiom that was told to me by another guitarist. He said, once a guitar player can play Stairway to Heaven, absolutely perfect, so well you can play it with a band. Mm-hmm. I mean letter perfect down to the record jam beat. you have basically graduated the beginner level of guitar playing. And once you can do Over the Hills and Far Away, you're pretty much to the medium and you're ready to go for the expert.
Right.
Is that, would you agree with that? Or it's kind of an axiom that was thrown out to me, but it's something I've agreed with for 40 years.
Yeah, you know, Stairway's a little bit more complicated though than people give it credit for.
Yeah.
It really is, yeah.
To play it right.
To play it right, absolutely.
And I'm talking letter perfect.
Letter
That we had to in our garage bands.
Well, you know
We have
what?
yet to
You know what?
see
That
those
makes
people that do
sense.
that.
That makes sense from a standpoint of the 70s, I would say. Definitely, because you had to be really good back then. So I could see Stairway being the starting point, or something like Freebird was another one. But that makes a lot of sense, because back then, just to be able to play in a club or even your local bars, you had to be as good as Eric Clapton. You know, nowadays, well, you can learn 3 chords and play something a little bit simpler and you get out there and play, but back then it wasn't that way. You had
What's
to be
funny
really
about
good.
that too, though,
So that
is
does kind of make sense.
Remember the music stores, but in that time frame that he's talking about, there used to be notes or signs up
No
almost every.
Stairway?
Yeah, like
Right.
if you get, you'll be thrown out
What
if you
was
play
that,
Stairway.
Wayne's World?
Well, no, but it truly
Right.
was. I mean,
Sure.
I remember. Well, I'm not gonna date myself.
And then it graduated to Eruption.
Right.
To Eruption.
So, just to your basic Led Zeppelin fan, or those who've been living in a hole and really haven't heard them much since they heard them on the radio 30 years ago, what can they expect when they come to see a Get the Lead Out concert? I mean, I understand it's 2.5, 3 hours of just solid energy.
Well, yeah, I mean, what Andrew was talking about really makes a lot of sense as far as the concert experience. Trying to explain to people that what it is, it's not just a bunch of guys in lab coats sitting down on stools playing like the studio versions with headphones on. That's what people think, oh, we're doing the studio version, somehow that it wouldn't be a full-blown concert. But what he was saying about, it's the concert experience that we're bringing you, but not the live Led Zeppelin concert experience. It's bringing these songs, the studio recordings, to life in a large concert. So you're going to get a rock and roll concert. I mean, we're not exactly looking like accountants here. It's a rock and roll show. So you're going to get all that, and the music itself. I mean, they did the hard work for us. We didn't have to write this music. It's there, and it's so dynamic and so dramatic, and there's so many peaks and valleys. And so we give you that full-blown concert experience with all these wonderful songs. There's 80 plus to choose from, and our shows we change it up. I mean, I imagine some bands that do a tribute, they'll pick a band that might have 3 hits. And that's got to be a pretty tough concert for the musicians, because every night they're doing those same 3 hits and then whatever filler they can do to make up an hour-and-a-half concert. With us, it's hard to whittle it down under 2.5 hours, because there's 80 plus songs to choose from, of which the majority of people out there that like Led Zeppelin probably know a good 50 of those songs. Easily. And so each night...
And they're awesome, too. There's nothing mediocre about them.
Absolutely. So each night we'll change the opener. We got various points in the set where we rotate songs, because like the acoustic set we do, we sit down and there's always, you always want to do like Going to California or Battle of Evermore, but then we'll throw in Tangerine one night, and then That's the Way another night, and Brian Stomp another. So there's so many places to do this to keep the show exciting. So I tell people not only what they're going to expect from this concert, but future concerts as well, because if you think you saw the Get the Let Out show and that's it, you're dead wrong, because you haven't heard 1/4 or 3/4 of the songs that we actually can perform in concert. So.
And that's given us a 2.5, 3 hour concert even.
Exactly.
Yes. So
bang for your buck, man.
And there is a couple spots where we deviate from the script a little bit and we'll branch out, and that keeps people on their toes. For instance, the drum solo in Moby Dick. He has a little bit of liberty to do it like John Bonham did live.
Okay, I forgot about that. Sure,
That?
yeah.
Violin bow solo in Dazed and Confused. And there's a couple other points. There's always a surprise.
Yeah, so it's not a static, like...
Sure.
Yeah, there's a script to a degree, but, and again, we are all about recreating those versions that but there, like Paul said, there are a few surprises each show.
So where can fans of Get the Lead Out, I'm sure you're getting more and more all the time, where can they find out a little more about you? I mean, I found you on YouTube, and I just listen to you. When I mean, like I say, when I need my Led Zeppelin fix. So
awesome, love to hear that. Well, GTLO rocks, like Get the Lead Out. GTLO
GTLO
rocks. ROCKS. Because we do, right?
Unequivocally.
GTLOrocks.com.
.com.
Right. And Facebook. Google search Get the Lead Out, you'll find us.
Be our Facebook friend. We just tipped the 20,000 fan point on Facebook. And we haven't even been on Facebook that long, so this thing's growing like a juggernaut.
And to think 10 years ago you wouldn't have been able to do this. It used to be Led Zeppelin was like Disney or George Lucas
Late
about
80s,
their,
maybe.
but
Oh, I know what you mean, right, as far as the licensing and stuff.
licensing and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. We'll
Jimmy
see.
Page is pretty kind. Robert Plant had a little bit more of an issue with it. Jimmy Page is very excited that there are tribute bands to Led Zeppelin.
As he should be, because all we're doing is
You're
promoting
keep-
the legacy, man.
You're keeping it alive, and that's the great thing. Any final words to anybody, to your fans?
Get the lead out. Don't miss it.
Words to live by. Come
Come see the show.
Yeah, come see the show and feel the love.
Right, exactly. Rock and roll.
So that'll wrap us up here at the Stiefel Theater for the Performing Arts in Salina, Kansas. I'm Ross Long from RossLong.Info and of course KJagRadio.com.